Falling in love is easy, but building a marriage requires wisdom. And that is what we're going to do here. So let's get into the video and begin. Hi loves, Marion Mikali here. I'm so excited we are here together. So the first thing is emotional responsibility. You're ready for marriage when you can manage your emotions without making your partner responsible for them. This is very important. If you are a single person that is in a serious relationship or you are working towards getting into marriage, the only way you can know that you are ready for marriage is if you have emotional responsibility. Because you know what, you will get offended, you will get hurt, but of course in a marriage setup it is where now you grow up to a point of being like, I am upset, but I'm not gonna blame my partner, because a lot of us tend to blame each other. You're like, he's the reason why I'm behaving the way I'm behaving, he's the fault, he's the one who has a how do you put it, he's the reason why I'm this upset, he knows how to touch a nerve and irritate me, but it is you just admitting that, by the way, you know what, I'm triggered, I'm irritated, but I'm gonna deal with it. And it's not about my partner, right? Like for me, it's not about my husband, it is about me practicing emotional responsibility and just being sure that I am upset, but I'm not going to attack my spouse, because nonetheless it is something that I am dealing with. And the truth is that you're upset whether the person did whatever they did to you, but then you shouldn't blame them if you have emotional responsibility. So that is one thing that you need to do, what to practice. The other thing is financial self-awareness. This isn't about being rich, it's about being responsible. Do you know how much you spend, how much debts you have? What are your spending habits? Because a lot of us have very bad spending habits, because marriages actually multiplies everything, including financial stress. So if you are not in a place where you are aware of your finances, it can really be challenging. I remember I was laughing with my spouse and just telling him, before I got married, I had a few debts I had accumulated as a single person. 5 years down the line, I haven't been able to recover and pay a lot of them, probably because I took it from places that I have no pressure. Right now is when I'm getting the pressure from one particular person to repay. But you see, at the end of the day, if you are a person who is not very good with your finances, you don't know how to limit your spending habits, of course marriage will multiply that, because remember, now you're becoming the two of you. So if you are wasting a lot of money on clothes, now you will waste more, because you're wasting on two people. A few minutes, a few years to come, you will have mini babies, you will have babies. So expenses again, if you're a spender, they will go to the children. So you will have very much spending, because of course that is who you are, and it will just be multiplied. So you need to look at some of those things and start working on them, so that you know that, by then, you know what, me, I'm not a very good person at investing. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give the other person who is good at it. And if both of you are not good, then how can you consciously agree that, by then, you know what, because we are planning to build a life and we don't want to spend all the money that we're getting without saving, how can we make sure that the both of us agree on even the way we are going to work with our resources, so that we don't spend all of it and lack something. If you are the type that, by the way, you would rather go and borrow money so that you can eat chicken on a daily basis, then you also need to get in a place where in marriage you have to be aware and be like, you know what, me, I love chicken, and because you will not be in a place to provide chicken probably all the time, I don't want to be found going to borrow probably from my relatives, because that will also spoil the CV of your partner. So you also need to be very aware, financial self-awareness. So know what works, what does not work for you when it comes to finances, discuss, and then you guys come with solutions that work for the both of you, because at the end of the day, when you are getting into marriage, it will be a two people working together to build something. So you need to include each other in everything. The other sign is you can handle hard conversations. I know a lot of us do not handle conversations like that. You avoid conflict, but marriage will always expose it, because sometimes if you're avoiding conflict in marriage, there are conflicts, because you reason differently, you have been raised differently, so a lot of conflict will be there. Being ready means you can actually sit down Stay respectful and talk through uncomfortable issues, things that by the way to you are uncomfortable. When now, like I have talked about the finances, and you sit down and you actually have a conversation about that. If it is about trust issues, you sit down. It's uncomfortable situation, but you sit down and have hard conversations. That shows that you're ready. The other sign is that you healed enough to love well. So you don't need to be perfect. It's not about perfection. It's about making sure that the past issues that you've had, the past relationships do not affect your new relationship. So you are fully healed. If someone who you are dating probably did something that caused you to be now more is it withdrawn in this relationship, you have healed and now you're not withdrawn anymore because you want to give the best, you want to love perfectly. So it's not about controlling the wounds, it's about you making sure that these wounds do not control your reactions now that you're getting into a new relationship. So healing protects your partner from carrying pain that isn't theirs, because that pain was for your ex, right? So don't bring it into this other relationship. We have had us talking about don't bleed on other people who have not cut you. So you make sure that that bleeding, that wound has healed before you get into the other relationship. Another sign that you will know you're ready is you share core values. If the two of you agree on principles, values determine the direction of your home. So if your values clash, the relationship will constantly feel like a battle because you're always fighting and disagreeing because the values are misdirected. So make sure that you have the same values so that it is easy. When we say that we do not want our children to have phones or probably to be beaten, or if we need to beat them, how much beating we need to beat them, or what are the values? Is it about going to church? Is it about tithing? Is it values like just us having family time and spending it together, going out, making sure that you actually spend money and take your children out so that you have that memorable moment? Such things are things you need to discuss, right? And make sure that you have money values, principles in terms of like such things. When it comes to relatives and family, how are those values like? Dealing with the in-laws, make sure that your values are aligned. And sometimes they might not really like align, quote unquote, but at least you agree on like, we can actually work with this one, right? Yeah, and there's that compromise that is working as well. It is a good sign, and that shows that you guys are ready for marriage. The other one is you know what marriage requires, right? Marriage is a partnership, right? You partner in terms of services, whether it is just being polite, whether it is now serving as the lady and the man providing. Those are services that you get in marriages, but it is a partnership, right? It is about the sacrifices that you make, and those sacrifices as well come in, and you know that by then I need to sacrifice probably my time out, I need to sacrifice my time with friends so that I can spend time with my family. It is about sacrifices for the ladies in terms of you carrying that big belly and losing your shape for a while. It is about sacrifice for the man, you going out of your way and making sacrifices that just make sure that your house is working. So marriages is about forgiveness, because if you don't forgive, you will not have a happy home. So those are some of the requirements that you have. So don't ever think that marriage is a fairy tale. Pause, please, and learn, and make sure that you learn well, because there's a lot of things that are required in marriages. And every time you want to get into this space, you think that people who have a good marriage, that it's so easy for them. No, it requires for them to sacrifice. It requires for them to actually be what we are calling nowadays in Kenya, right? People who are in marriage are stupid, right? Yeah, it requires you to actually sometimes just go out of your way and cut down on some of the things, cut down on your own happiness because you're trying to accommodate the other person. The other thing to know that you're ready for marriage is that you're choosing each other daily. Marriage is not sustained by feelings, it's sustained by decisions. And I can actually agree with this. 5 years down the line, I feel like I sustained my marriage by the decision I said and I made when I made my vows, and I said I'm just gonna be faithful, right? When I said I will do, and it's until death do us part, that is when I know that by then my vows are very important, because you will get hurt, you will get disappointed, you will have challenges here and there, sometimes coming from the two of you, sometimes coming from your in-laws, and you have to compromise a lot. And and that actually means choosing each other daily, regardless, right? We have our own weaknesses and flaws, of course, and because we do, then that is a daily decision. I choose my husband regardless of his flaws, because he's not a perfect person, and it is also my prayer that he chooses me as much as I am not perfect. I have my flaws so that we can make our marriage work. So it is making sure that you are ready. You are already choosing each other with consistency. That's a sign of readiness. So irrespective of, and of course, when we say that beautiful ones are still being born, and I am beautiful and I know that, but there are people who are more beautiful than me. I am learned, but there are people who are more learned than I am. I have my good things, but there are people, even with that good thing I have, there is someone who has a better thing than mine, right? So if it is about choosing each other options will come, right? So it is you just deciding with consistency every day that I'm going to choose whatever I have. I'm going to choose Marion as much as there's a better version in terms of the boobs, they have better ones. In terms of the ass, they have a better one. In terms of the degrees, they have a better one. In terms of skill, I will meet other women who have better skills than she does, but I choose her daily, regardless, and with consistency. So when you find a person who is willing to do that with you on a daily basis, especially now, because as I'm doing this video, it's basically targeted to single people who are dating or people who are dating, that this person will continue to choose you, because right now they have not said the I do promises of I will choose no other one. So if they are still being consistent and choosing you on a daily basis, then that is a sign that, by the way, these people are the right people for you, and it's a sign that you guys can get into marriage, because it is an assurance that they will choose you regardless. So tell me in the comment section which sign you are currently working on. What are you thinking that, by the way, is a sign for you to know that, by the way, as a relationship, we are ready for the next step, if it is a relationship? And even you, as you analyze yourself, are you feeling that you're ready, depending on the signs that we have talked about? If this helped you, kindly also share with a friend so that they can also learn the signs that they will know that they are ready for marriage, even as we're doing this series, A Journey Towards Marriage. And I'm sure that it's going to be amazing. Thank you so much for being here. This is Marion Mikali, and this is Love and Truth. See you on the next one.